So I think it's as an MMA fan, it wouldn't be just for me not to talk about the recent card, or not even the recent card, just Charles Oliveira himself. Charles is becoming my favorite fighter, um, and a lot of things that can be attributed to this is his toughness and his story, his grit, his coming back after being doubted by everybody. He was no one believed in him. No one thought he was going to beat Chandler. No one really thought he was going to beat Poirier. Look at him now. No one thought he was going to be champion. The amount of times he lost to somebody or gave up. And yes, you can say he gave up back in the day because he did. I mean, he lost to Cub Swanson. He lost to a few other good names. But now look at him. He's on top of the mountain. And yeah, I just really like his style of where whether it's the side kicks, the push kicks, the front kicks, the low kicks, the spinning back kicks, the elbows, the clinch work, the when you know what I'm saying, using his distance. Now let's touch on the fight a little bit itself. The fight between Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. Just trying to gather my thoughts here. Um, this is pre-recorded gameplay, by the way. This might be a new style of video I'm gonna start doing where I just talk to you guys. But the fight starts off, and it looks like Charles gets dropped super early. But if you watch the fight back, I believe there was a slip. I don't think the first one was a drop, but he definitely does get dropped later on in that round. But anyways, he starts off, and he's trying to control distance like he normally does. But Charles really does his best work moving forward. This kind of stems from his head movement not exactly being there. So like if he's backing up, he's a much more easier target to hit. You know, he's a decent counterpuncher, but at the same time, if he's backing up with his head straight up in the air, then he's a lot easier to hit than he is when he's the one pushing the action and pressing forward and doing a lot of the damage. So yeah, you definitely saw Charles come forward. He was doing a good job of negating Dustin's pressure and being the one to pressure forward. And yeah, you really saw the power difference between those two. But what it did seem what was worrying me in the fight is when like he would throw like a switch to the body or whatever, like a switch front kick to the body, and it was like in really close boxing range. I thought Dustin was going to take his head off, and I had Charles for this fight. I had him picked for this fight, but it was what was worrying me is exactly what happened. Being that Dustin is much more powerful than Charles, you could tell the difference whenever like Charles would counter Dustin. Dustin wouldn't really get hurt, but when it'd be the opposite way, Charles would definitely get hurt or get dropped. But what was really worrying me in the fight definitely happened in terms of Charles getting dropped. Charles getting hit, not necessarily dropped, but hit. I was worried that Charles would get hit and he wouldn't be able to recover, and he would. I didn't think he would give up. I'm gonna get to that a little later, the giving up narrative, but I just thought that the power would be a little too much, and once he gets hurt, Dustin's going to swarm him. But Charles did a really good job of initiating the clinch and really kind of stifling that pressure. Not many people have done that. I think Connor actually did do a good job of doing it. So because when Dustin Poirier rocks you, he rocks you. So he hurts you and then he swarms you. He's all over you. So excuse me. Charles definitely did his homework and clinched him up. Conor McGregor did something like that too, but of course you know Connor isn't Charles in the clinch or on the ground or anything like that. So, but yeah, Charles definitely did his homework, did a good job of negating that right there. He eventually he just like walks through the fire. He did a similar thing in the Chandler fight. He just walked through the fire, and eventually found his way to victory. There was a little bit of cheating, but I feel as if the result was going to happen regardless if he did that or not. Who knows? Maybe he could have gotten knocked out in that fight, but in the I believe the first or the second round, whenever that he was grabbing the glove. But I definitely think that I think Charles he had more alleyways or venues to where he could have won. Definitely more than Poirier had, and I think it was a matter of time before Charles just found that rear naked choke. That's what I predicted. That's exactly what happened. My boy Charles was able to secure the rear naked choke, the standing rear naked choke. I think that was how his first finish in the UFC went down. But definitely, props to Charles Oliveira. I'm going to touch on how I feel about the situation with Dustin Poirier and where he goes from here. After this fight, and it's definitely heartbreaking for a Dustin fan. But yeah, I think Charles is becoming my favorite fighter because like the things mentioned, his toughness, his story of just getting beat and coming back, things of that nature. So, and let's touch on this giving up. People say that Charles Oliveira, the thing coming into this was, he gives up. Even after the Kevin Lee fight, where not the Kevin Lee, excuse me, even after the Michael Chandler fight, coincidentally we're fighting Michael Chandler here. Um, people still wanted to say that Charles Oliveira, gives up. And I think this fight should definitely goes to show that Charles Oliveira isn't going to give up on himself anymore. You saw him get dropped numerous amount of times. You saw him take some serious damage, and yeah, I definitely don't think Charles is going to be giving up again anytime soon. Moving on from there, let's talk about Charles versus Gaethje. The next fight. The next fight. So now, if you thought I was worried about our Charles Oliveira in the Dustin Poirier fight, imagine how worried I am for him in the Gaethje fight. And like I said, Charles Oliveira is becoming my favorite fighter, so I definitely am rooting for Charles Oliveira. But like the difference between Poirier and Gaethje in punch power, I think it's pretty noticeable. And I think when Gaethje hits, and he's gonna hit him. I think when Gaethje hits Oliveira, I'm not exactly sure if he's gonna be able to take that. And it's not a thing of giving up; it's more a thing of just the power. Like there's only so much a human being can take, and Charles isn't the most. He's kind of chinny in terms of if he gets hit, he's probably gonna get hurt or probably get dropped. He's durable in terms of coming back from that and still winning, but it only takes so much for the referee to stop a fight. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely an aspect of something you have to worry about. In the Gaethje fight. But now, if my man Charles wins the Justin Gaethje fight, which I do have Charles Oliveira winning that, but I definitely think Charles can definitely win. But if he does win that Justin Gaethje fight, Charles is I think he already is to me. He's closing the chapter, closing the book on the Khabib Nurmagomedov era, in my opinion. Definitely doing a good job of that. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying he's better than Khabib or anything like that, but Khabib seemed great to all of us, and Khabib was great. Khabib definitely was great, but he was a dominant champion. But you got to think. I think he only had what was it, 3 title defenses? He defended against Conor, I think. He defended against Dustin. And he defended against Gaethje. Charles Oliveira, I think while he may get hit by Conor, I think Charles would, if he got his hands on Conor, it's over. He already beat Poirier, which was, I believe, Khabib's hardest opponent. And then Gaethje, if Charles beats Gaethje, I think he's going to start, I think it's finally when we're going to move on from people really not being necessarily worried about Khabib, but people like talking about Khabib and considering him as like some untouchable force in terms of legacy. Because the recency bias, some people think that Khabib can be considered a lightweight GOAT, which I can get the argument in terms of dominance, but in regards to accolades and things of that nature, if Charles beats Gaethje after beating Dustin Poirier, and who knows, maybe if he fights Conor, and I think he'd beat him too. Then I mean, you know what I mean? It starts to get a little dicey in terms of legacy because Khabib, while he's undefeated and was dominant, the legacy aspect in terms of title defenses, it wasn't necessarily there. But yeah, Charles getting around that hurdle, Justin Gaethje is gonna be a problem in and of itself because Charles just does not move his head at all, ladies and gentlemen. He just really doesn't. He really doesn't move his head at all, and it's just a sitting target for someone like Justin Gaethje. He's a power puncher. And that kind of leads me on to the Conor McGregor. Of course, Conor hasn't won a fight in lightweight since 2016. He's running his mouth about Charles Oliveira, talking about he's fighting Charles Oliveira. Now, if Conor McGregor somehow weasels his way into fighting Charles Oliveira, one of two things is going to happen. All right, Conor's going to do his homework, and this may sound crazy, but Conor's going to do his homework, right? He's gonna realize, okay, this guy doesn't move his head, and he doesn't do as good backing up as he does coming forward. And Conor's gonna pressure forward, land those left hands, and if Oliveira can't take it, he can't take it. He's not gonna give up, but if he can't take it, he can't take it. But the more likely scenario is that Oliveira's eventually gonna get his hands on Conor, and he's gonna tap Conor out. Now, do I want this fight to happen? In terms of me being an MMA fan, yes. For the business, yes, because that would definitely boost, the legend or the status of Charles Oliveira. Definitely boost it. But in terms of, would it be right for Conor to be fighting Charles Oliveira? Hell no, not even remotely. It's just one of the things. Like, it'd be a treat for MMA fans. I think some people don't want to see that, but I think it'd be a good fight. I think it'd be an interesting matchup because styles make fights. But yeah. That's really all I have to talk about today. I just think Charles is he's we needed a champion, a consistent champion to we need a consistent champion to kind of close the book on Khabib Nurmagomedov's era. And I think if Dustin Poirier were to win, um, that would not do that because we saw what Khabib did to Dustin. I feel as if though Dustin would have won, then it'd been like, okay, Dustin's the champion because Khabib's not here. But we have Charles Oliveira as champion now, and Charles, you know what I mean? Charles definitely has not fought Khabib, and he's kind of like what people thought Tony Ferguson would be for someone like Khabib. Um, and so I think Charles is the next step in the direction for the lightweights. Hopefully he continues holding the title. It'll be the same thing if Gaethje wins the title. It's like okay, Gaethje's the title holder, but because Khabib isn't here, so I think Charles is the best person for the actual lightweight division to hold the title. And yeah, so you know Charles Oliveira is becoming my favorite UFC fighter. You guys let me know what you think about this. Any thoughts, any opinions, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like this, format, this more organized format of a video. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. It's your boy T-Dog, and I'm out.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 29-28. Declared the winner by unanimous decision, Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira.